Hey guys, welcome to a new movie review. Today I'm going to keep talking about the new highly anticipated Disney sequel, Frozen 2. This is a sequel to the 2013 hit from Disney. And in the sequel, you guys, Elsa keeps hearing this voice out in the distance. It keeps calling to her, no one else can hear it. But so Elsa's trying to figure out what exactly this voice is and what it wants with her. As the film progresses, we find out that her kingdom is not safe. So they basically evacuate the village, evacuate the kingdom, get the people safe, while Elsa goes out and figures out what exactly this voice is and what it needs her for. And so, obviously, as the film progresses, and this is a spoiler-free review, I'm just basically giving you the gist of the film, the synopsis of the film. So this is no spoilers. It's basically just everything you're going to learn from the trailers of this movie, pretty much. So Elsa goes out, makes sure the village is safe, that her kingdom is safe, and goes out and finds out about this lake that has all these memories. Depending on who you are and what your background is, you can see memories of all shapes and sizes, really. Learn new ones that connect to your own memories and things like that. And that she finds out as the film progresses that it needs her for her ice powers because she's the most significant and most powerful of all the people in her kingdom, pretty much. And so, as the film progresses, also we find out that there's a person with a fire power, person with a wind power, and others, all these other beings that also have powers that are elements of the earth. I think there's an Earth one at some point. There's also these big giants and things like that. So as the film progresses, Elsa has to figure out what exactly the voice needs her for, how it's going to help her kingdom, help her people, and also help herself and learn more about herself as more things become uncovered, and she learns more about her past and things that will benefit her in the future. So overall, guys, I liked Frozen 2. I wasn't a humongous fan of the first Frozen movie. I thought it was a decent movie, not a film that I necessarily hated or liked, but it was a film that had its moments, had its qualities that I enjoyed. I love the Olaf character. Olaf gets a lot to do in this movie too, thankfully, because I really like that character. I also felt that this film was overall a more investing journey. There was just more to like about the overall adventure we're being taken on and things like that. So let's go over some positives and negatives of why I personally like this film a little bit more than the first Frozen movie. But it's not like an amazing movie or my film of the year or anything like that. So for my positives and negatives of Frozen 2, I thought the Enchanted Forest setting that they went with in this movie that Elsa has her calling in, that gets her to that lake, that forest was really cool to see, really cool to kind of go through it and with these characters and go on this adventure with them and things like that. It definitely was a different thing for a Frozen movie, and I like the overall setting that they went for to make this movie different from the first movie. There were also some very breathtaking animation in this movie, whether it's the water, the trees, the mountains. That it really, you can definitely tell they spent a lot of time with the animation in this movie because it really is top notch. Whether it is the water, the trees, or the mountains, or wherever they're at in the movie, that really kind of takes your breath away with the animation in this movie. And like I was going to say, what I was saying earlier about the adventure, I felt that this was a much more investing movie. More, I like that there's elements besides just ice this time around. There's like a fire character, a wind character, earth character, more things, more elements of the earth and things like that. I just felt more invested in the journey this time around. So I think that's something that really says something about this movie over the first one. Is I just felt more invested this time around. So whether that is the characters or that is just the overall adventure being neater and more investing, I did feel more invested this time around in the adventure. Olaf gets a lot of cute and funny moments in this movie. So if you loved Olaf in the first movie, he gets a lot of cute, funny things to do in this movie also. So huge thumbs up to that. Always kind of cool to see Olaf getting cute, funny things to do in a movie like this. For my negatives of Frozen 2, though, I do overall think that there is too many distracting musical numbers also. So there's too many of them, and they're very distracting when they happen. I felt like you kind of have to retrace your steps with the story when the musical numbers happen because there are so many of them and because they are very distracting when they happen. And they're also not the most memorable songs in the world either. So if you're looking for another Let It Go, Into the Unknown is probably the closest you're going to get with the songs in this movie. Into the Unknown was probably the only song that I kind of remembered a little bit and really cared about as the film progressed and revisited earlier songs and things like that. So I thought there was too many musical numbers and too many distracting musical numbers in this movie too. I also thought the film had a hard time getting started. It spends a lot of time in the kingdom for a while. You could tell there was probably a lot of drafts where possibly Frozen 2 was going to be mostly in the kingdom that the first film was in, and it was mostly going to be in that same setting probably. But I'm glad that they definitely had the whole enchanted forest thing and this body of water with memories in it and things like that. Um, but I felt like the film had a hard time getting started. You could definitely tell a lot of that first draft probably stayed here with the kingdom stuff. It just had a hard time getting into the enchanted forest and the waters and the giants and all that kind of stuff. So it gets started when it gets started, but until it gets to that point, it has a hard time getting started, I thought. I also thought certain characters kind of disappeared from the story randomly. Sterling K. Brown from This Is Us has a role in this movie, a voice role. His character is cool. He definitely connects to Elsa and Anna's past in a sense. But I feel like there's just a lot of times in the story where his character just disappears, is just kind of worthless. Is just kind of another character to add into this universe, really. Um, he kind of just disappears like a lot of characters do in this movie. I would say the same about Kristoff and that reindeer character and things like that. They're in the movie when they're in the movie, but when they're out of the movie, they're really out of the movie for a very long time. So there's just certain characters that just disappear from the story. It really is a journey that Elsa and Anna go on. Olaf and all of them get cool stuff to do too, but for the most part, this isn't Elsa and Anna's story once again, and it really focuses on the two of them, really. Um, so I really felt like certain characters just kind of disappear from the script after a while, and that's really too bad because I'm a huge Olaf fan, and there's just a lot of times in the script where Olaf just kind of disappears from the story, and we really don't get to hear from him again for a while. I also overall think that this film will really make you like the first Frozen film more or hate it more, rather whatever stance you have with that first Frozen movie. So I would say wherever you are at as far as being a Frozen fan or not, this film will probably keep you in the same wheelhouse as far as really liking Frozen or really not liking it. I really can't see it steering you one way or the other with this movie specifically. So that's another negative with this movie is it's not really going to make more Frozen fans necessarily. I would say if you're already a fan, it'll keep you there. But if you're not a fan, it'll probably still keep you as not being a fan of this, really. So overall, I'm going to give Frozen 2 an 8 out of 10. I like this movie. I think there's things about it that are really good, like the Enchanted Forest setting, the breathtaking animation. I felt more invested in the journey that I've been taken on this time around. Olaf gets tons of cute and funny moments when he's on screen. But like I said, the musical numbers, there's a little too many of them, and they're kind of distracting with the story. Um, the film has a hard time getting going for a while until it gets into the enchanted forest and the water and stuff like that. Certain characters just disappear from the story for no reason. It just kind of doesn't really know what to do with them at certain times. And I would say, once again, it doesn't really make you like or hate Frozen 1, probably how you're going to feel about it before seeing this movie specifically. So, Frozen 2, I'm going to give it 8 out of 10. I like the film. I'm going to recommend it and give it a thumbs up. Um, Go and see the movie if you like the first Frozen film. If you really did not like the first Frozen film at all, like I said, I can't see this steering you one way or the other, really. I think if you like Frozen, you'll like this too. If you didn't like Frozen 1, you're probably not going to like this either. But I personally recommend it. I give it an 8 out of 10. I like Frozen 2.